Earth's lands and oceans are slowly being destroyed by our increasing populations and our overconsumption of meat.
By 2050, the world's population is expected to pass 9 billion, and unfortunately, our planet has limited space. Over 70% of the world's fertile land is already being used to produce meat, and these industrial livestock rearing practices are overburdening the environment.
Oceans are overfished, and global warming is impacting our climate while millions of people in the world are struggling with malnutrition. Seems like there's no hope for the future, huh? But hey, there's good news. In 2008, scientists from the Food and Agriculture Organization suggested a solution to our global food crisis.
Yep, and it's called entomophagy. It's a weird word, right? And you'd probably never guess that it actually refers to the human consumption of insects and arachnids as food.
Wait. Did I just hear you say ew? Well, guess what? Insects were eaten long ago by our first ancestors, and even now by more than 2 billion people. Early hunter-gatherers probably learned from animals that foraged for protein-rich insects, and later, in ancient Greece, cicadas were actually considered as luxury snacks. Even the Romans found beetle larvae to be appetizing.
See? Insects have always been a part of the human diet, whether it's a cockroach, bee, wasp, ant, or worm. In addition, according to some active entomophagists, this large variety of edible insect species offer a wide range of flavors including nutty, fruity, fishy, and even potato-like.
People from the tropics, such as Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia, are the most eager consumers of bugs because it's acceptable in their culture. Even parts of China and Africa enjoy the taste of a scorpion or a juicy mopani worm simmered in spicy sauce.
People from the Western cultures, however, aren't so thrilled about eating bugs. But why? The story behind our reason for refusal begins around 10,000 BC in the Fertile Crescent, which was a major birthplace of agriculture, located in the Middle East. Our ancestors back then settled in the crescent and learned to farm crops and domesticate animals. However, as farming took off, people probably spurned insects as mere pests that ruined their crops.
Thus, attitudes towards entomophagy changed, eventually spreading to Europe and the rest of the Western world. And as populations multiplied and the West became industrialized, connections with our bug-rich past were weakened.
And for those not accustomed to entomophagy today, bugs are simply an annoyance because they sting and bite. In addition, we feel an ick factor linked with them and a revulsion towards the concept of cooking them. But would it surprise you if you were told that insects are used as invisible ingredients in orange juice, chocolate, and many other processed foods you've probably consumed every day of your life?
You're practically an entomophagist already, but of course, you probably wouldn't accept the challenge voluntarily because you'd be imagining all of the disgusting legs and feelers getting stuck between your teeth. But guess what? It's not actually disgusting. In fact, eating bugs is healthy.
Yup. Insects actually have a lot of nutritional benefits, such as having a lot of protein. They have just as much protein as traditional livestock, such as beef and chicken, and they're complete proteins too, meaning that they contain all 9 essential amino acids. So for those of you who are interested in building some muscles, bring a bag of cricket chips and substitute it for your protein powder since it's much healthier.
Insects also have a higher value of iron, zinc, magnesium, and B vitamins than traditional livestock. They provide just as much calcium as milk, they provide omega-3 fats that are good for heart and brain functioning, and guess what? Some insects like crickets are 3 times less in calories than beef. And also, for those in the world who cannot afford meat, insects being cheaper can act as an alternative source for it, and thus help solve the global issues of starvation and malnutrition.
Overall, insects are filled with tons of essential proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. And it's a superfood that may be the key to solving many of the problems we face today due to our growing populations. Insects, however, aren't just beneficial for human health. It could possibly save our environment that we are rapidly destroying day by day.
For starters, insects are much more sustainable to raise and breed compared to traditional livestock, which are currently using 70% of all available agricultural land on Earth.
In fact, beef requires around 200 square meters just to produce 1 kilogram of meat, whereas crickets only require 15 square meters. Not only does the production of insects save the amount of agricultural land used, but insects can also be easily raised in almost any type of climate or environment while requiring far less resources such as living space, water, and feed. Research shows that cows require an average of 10,000 grams of feed along with 20,000 liters of water. But crickets, on the other hand, only require 1,700 grams of feed and less than a liter of water because they're able to get the moisture they need from their food. This is especially important because while a stunning third of the world's grain goes to feeding our so-called traditional livestock, insects can even survive off only organic waste and plant materials that we would have simply thrown away and wasted in the past.
Additionally, insect reproduction is much quicker than that of livestock such as cattle. They have also been found to produce much less pollutants and waste, as well as emit a substantially less amount of greenhouse gases. As a matter of fact, a report from the Food and Agriculture Organization shows that about 18% of global greenhouse gas emissions can be attributed to our current livestock production. That's more than what transportation produces, and is predicted to grow significantly in the near future due to increased demands for meat. But if the farming of insects takes off, there would contrastingly be no labor-intensive butchering of animals, no back-breaking farm work, no need for tractors, and no need for veterinary bills.
So what is being done now? Though not everybody around the world is crazy about or even aware of entomophagy, more and more people are learning about it, and some brave souls are even beginning to take action. Passionate individuals and multiple organizations are dedicating their lives to promote entomophagy through mediums such as social media and by providing educational programs. Though it is clear that more research and time is required for many to accept and even begin to adopt entomophagy, it can certainly be achieved starting with you.
All we ask is for you to take a moment to really think about your food choices. Think about how it impacts you and your health on a micro level, and then about how something as simple as diet can affect the planet on the big scale. By saying no to bugs today, you could be rejecting the solution to global crises such as starvation and resource deprivation. So try some micro livestock and share this idea. Social media has such a great impact on our lives, and it has the power to change our world's fate with a single like, share, tweet, repost, and a hashtag entomophagy is cool. There really isn't an act too small to make a difference.